My own children threw me out of the house I built with my own hands. Not strangers, not enemies. My son, my daughter, the two people I had sacrificed everything for. They sat me down one Sunday afternoon and told me very politely that it would be better for everyone if I moved into a care home. I was 71 years old. I was healthy. I was sharp. And I had just signed that house over to them 3 months earlier because they told me it would help with taxes. I smiled at them. I said I would think about it. Then I called my lawyer. My name is Arthur. I am 73 years old. I am a retired civil engineer from Bristol. And I am going to tell you the story of how my children made the biggest mistake of their lives, and how I made sure they understood that. I built that house in 1987. Not bought. Built. I drew the plans myself. I managed the construction myself. I spent 18 months of evenings and weekends turning an empty plot of land into a home. My wife Margaret helped me pick every tile and every door handle and every piece of wood for the staircase. Margaret died 11 years ago. That house was the last place on earth that still felt like her. My son Robert and my daughter Patricia had grown up in that house. They had their childhood there. Their first steps, their first days of school. Their weddings were planned from that kitchen table. I paid for both of those weddings without complaint. When they came to me 2 years ago with the tax argument, I trusted them. They were my children. They had accountants and financial advisors and all the language of people who understand money better than a 71-year-old retired engineer. They told me signing the house over would protect the asset and save the family significant money in the long run. I signed the papers. 3 months later they told me to leave. I sat in that kitchen, Margaret's kitchen, and I listened to my son and my daughter explain very reasonably and very kindly why a care home would be better for my health and my social life and my general well-being. They had already researched options. They had brochures. Brochures. I looked at Robert. I looked at Patricia. I thought about 18 months of evenings building their childhood home. I thought about 2 weddings I paid for without complaint. I thought about Margaret and every tile she chose and every door handle she picked. And I smiled. I told them I would think about it. What I actually did was call my lawyer the next morning. Now, here is where it gets interesting. When I had signed the house over, I had done so with what my lawyer called a life interest clause buried in the paperwork. At the time, Robert and Patricia's solicitor had assured them it was standard language with no practical significance. It was not standard language, and it had very significant practical significance. That clause meant that regardless of who owned the house on paper, I had the legal right to live in it for the rest of my natural life. They could not sell it. They could not rent it. They could not do anything with it while I was alive without my written consent. My lawyer confirmed it was watertight. I called Robert that evening. I told him I had thought about it. I told him I would not be going to a care home. I told him I would be staying in my house, the house I'd built, for as long as I chose to. And I told him that if he or Patricia attempted to pressure me again in any way, I would be consulting my lawyer about whether their conduct constituted elder financial abuse, which carries serious legal consequences. The silence on the other end of the phone was the most satisfying sound I have heard in years. I am still in my house. Robert and Patricia visit occasionally. The visits are polite and careful and nothing like the easy warmth we used to have. That loss is real, and I will not pretend it does not hurt. But I sit in Margaret's kitchen every morning, and I drink my tea, and I look at the staircase she chose the wood for, and I feel something that I think is peace. They thought I was just an old man who would do what he was told. I built this house with my own hands. I was never going to leave it without a fight. And the most important lesson I have learned in 73 years. Always read the paperwork. And if you are smart enough, Put something in it that nobody else notices until the moment you need them to.